Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady and principal owner of Everett Tax Solutions, where we help you win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, and when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. So today I want to talk about the three main services that tax professionals provide. And the reason I got here is because I'm in a lot of business groups, and there's one particular thread that caught my eye because there was a business owner who was complaining about how much her accountant was charging her for her services. And so that led me to really want to dig in and really educate you on what services tax professionals provide and how you're going to be charged for them, like what this entails. Because I think it's this lack of education and misinformation that causes people to feel like they're being taken for a ride when they're really not. So the first one is tax preparation. Everybody knows tax preparation, right? Because everybody's got to file taxes. So, and I'm going to give you the definition of these so you really understand what it is that you're getting. So tax preparation is the process of preparing tax returns, generally income tax returns, often for another person, and it's generally for a fee. So those of us who prepare taxes, we're doing it for a fee. Now, with tax preparation, it's just that. You bring us the documents, we prepare your taxes based on the documentation you provide. Now, one of the things that has happened is that the IRS has pretty much put the auditing job on us as tax professionals by way of penalties, right? They're called due diligence penalties. So when your tax preparer is asking you for all of this additional documentation, it's not for our health. It's because the IRS is requiring us to do our due diligence, to review your documentation, to look for when you have dependents, to verify residency, to verify ages, to verify everything, right? Because if we don't, then, and you get audited and you, the taxpayer, happen to not be telling us the truth, and we haven't done our due diligence to find out the truth ahead of time, then we can get fined $510 per instance. And I have seen where tax businesses have been fined 6 figures because of due diligence. Okay. And this is not something, when you get these fines and penalties, when tax professionals get these fines and penalties, this is not something where you just go and you work something out with the government. This is from the Treasury Department. This isn't like paying a tax bill. So when we get those fines and penalties, they are designed to be brutal. Okay, so that you essentially learn the lesson. So tax preparation also is reactive. It is basically an autopsy on what happened the year prior, because all of the taxes have been taken out. You either paid it or you didn't. You've earned all the income, all of that. Generally, there is nothing left that you can do to impact your tax situation. So tax preparation is just that. You bring your documents, and then that tax person just sits down and prepares that return. Now, the other issue here is that there are certain tax companies that have you out here thinking that all people are tax people, and that's simply not the truth. And because of that, it has really tried to minimize the lack of education that some of us have. Now, one of the issues with the tax industry is that the tax industry is not regulated like other industries. There's a bill, there's a part of the bill right now that's aiming to rectify that. So there are a lot of times where people come in contact with very poor tax people. I'm not even going to call them tax professionals, because quite frankly, all you have to do is get a preparer tax ID number, which is an application, get an e-file ID number, which you have to pass a background check, and then get you some tax software. Those are the only 3 things that you need. Notice I did not say anything about tax education. right? So if a person can prepare a tax ID number, pass a background check, and get an e-file ID number and pay for some tax software, boom, they're in business. And unfortunately, you as the consumer, if you don't know the right questions to ask or even know what your tax return is supposed to look like, then you can be really taken for a ride with these folks. It's just that simple. And so that is why the government is really trying to put some things in place in order to help curb the fraud that is, that's performed by these unscrupulous tax preparers, okay? Because at the end of the day, you taxpayer are going to have to pay for that too. If you got a refund that you weren't supposed to get, you're going to have to pay that back, right? And that's generally what happens, is that these preparers, prepare fraudulent returns, help you get all this money back, and you think they're doing something great and wonderful when really they're doing something illegal. And so then when you come to someone that has education behind them, that knows the tax law, and that's also maybe charging you a little bit more, you're thinking then that we are the ones that are really trying to take advantage of you, and that's simply not true. So service 1, tax preparation. Service number 2 is tax planning, okay? Tax planning and tax preparation are 2 different services. You don't get one with the other. That's not how this works unless you pay for both of these services. So tax planning is the analysis of your financial situation to help minimize your tax burden, okay? That's when we take into account your goals, your income, your future income, like what you plan to do for the upcoming year. If you know you're getting a raise, if you know your business is expanding and you want to minimize that tax bill, that's what tax planning is. Now, with tax planning, this is proactive. This is setting up a plan that says, hey, these are my goals. And so our job then is to create a tax plan to help you minimize your tax burden so you get to your goal. Okay? That's what tax planning is. You sit down and you meet with your tax professional, and you tell them all about what's going on in your life. Maybe you got a baby coming. Maybe you got a kid going to college. Maybe you're about to get married. Maybe you're about to get divorced. There are all types of life situations that impact your tax situation. And so when you go to your tax professional for tax planning, you're looking for them to create a custom plan for you that's going to help you minimize your tax burden. And so your tax professional may charge you a percentage of what they're going to save you. So let me give you an example. You go to your tax professional, you're like, listen, this tax bill has got me off the chain here. What can I do to minimize this? So then you sit down and have this conversation. Your tax professional says, hey, I can save you $15,000 a year in taxes, but it's going to cost you $5,000. Now, most people are going to sit there and go, why should it cost me $5,000? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because number one, you're going to get what you pay for. Number two, when you're saving that $15,000 per year, that tax professional still is only going to make that $5,000 one time. So you take that $15,000 over 10 years and you saved $150,000, right? That tax professional has only made $5,000. So you're not getting taken for a ride for a tax plan that for a tax planner that may charge you 30% or 25% or whatever of that tax plan. Because see, a tax planning takes a higher level of education than tax preparation. Tax planning it requires a more in-depth knowledge of the tax law and knowing what applies to you. And someone who is worth their weight in salt, and that is a tax planner, that person has invested thousands of dollars into their education to know what they know. And so while you're sitting here thinking, oh, well, so-and-so gave me this tidbit for free. Well, again, does so-and-so have any type of liability when it comes down to this tax plan? Does so-and-so, usually your barber, your hairstylist, Have they taken the education to know how the law applies to you and how to maximize your whole plan? Okay, probably not. So tax planning is something completely different from tax preparation. Again, tax preparation is reactive. Tax planning is proactive, so that by the time you get to the tax prep part at the end of the year, you have implemented your plan and you're seeing those tax savings. Okay? And then service number 3 is tax representation. That is when a professional, usually an enrolled agent like myself, a tax attorney, or a CPA, they deal with the IRS for you, the IRS and state agencies. They go to these agencies on your behalf. All right. And that's when you're dealing with audits, collections, any type of, major tax liability that you may need help with. Or you may need a tax attorney if you are being accused of something criminal. Again, tax preparation is not a part of that. Tax planning is not a part of that. That is a completely separate service. Okay? And so, one of the things about, these services, tax preparation, everybody does. Tax planning, not everybody does that. Tax representation, not everybody needs that. Okay, but just understand that these are the 3 major services that tax professionals offer. Not every tax professional offers all of these things. Now, I know there will be somebody watching this and say, okay, well, there's my girl, around the corner, or my guy around the corner that is not one of these professionals that helps me with the representation. They're not representing you. They are helping you represent yourself. Okay. Again, the ultimate liability lies on you, the taxpayer. All right. So please understand that there is a difference in these services. And I wanted to share this with you because the public needs to understand that even though you might, you might see these commercials or anything that says, you should be able to get XYZ and everybody can do this. No, not everybody can do all of these services. Not everybody can prepare taxes properly. Not everybody can do tax planning. Not everybody can do representation. No. Again, and even with tax representation, it requires a higher level of education. So when you're complaining about what your tax professional is charging you for these services, what I want you to think about is all the education that you have. If you have a bachelor's degree, you expect to make more money than somebody with a high school education. If you have a master's degree, you expect to make more money than somebody with the bachelor's degree and make more money than somebody with a high school diploma, right? Okay, so as tax professionals, as we invest in our education and become more knowledgeable and become more valuable to you, the taxpayer, it is going to cost more. And it's going to cost more because our wisdom is rich. This isn't, if you've got a serious tax professional, you are not going to, you're not going to get away with just getting stuff for free. You don't get free, when you go to the doctor, you got to pay for that, whether it comes out of your pocket or your insurance company's pocket, right? So, so you want to make sure that you understand what it is that you're getting and what it is that you expect. And for my tax pros, you also have to set the expectation for your client, because if you're telling them, okay, hey, I'm doing all of this for this one low fee of $200, okay, then that's what you can expect. That's setting the expectation. But for for the public, I want you to understand that there is a difference in these services. They are all not the same. If you are only coming to your tax professional at tax time, that's too late. Tax time is too late. It's got to be during the year. That's when all the tax savings happen, is during the year. Once December 31st, 11:59 and 59 seconds, once that clock turns to January 1st, it's too late. So I hope this helps you out in really educating you on the services that tax professionals offer and what they entail, so that then when you're going forward and you're looking for professional services, then you know exactly what you're asking for and expect to pay for those services the same way that you show up for work and expect to get paid. We should get paid too. Okay, so thank you guys so much. I hope that helps you out. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.